Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm Jim Dow. I'm with AARP. I'm obviously here with Jeff Gordon, four-time NASCAR Cup Series champion and driver of the number 24 Drive Down Hunger Chevrolet. Everybody knows what it's like to sing for their supper. Today, we're asking you to listen for your lunch. There are nearly 9 million Americans over the age of 50 who struggle to put food on the table every day. When AARP and AARP Foundation worked with Jeff and Hendrick Motorsports to launch Drive Down Hunger 3 years ago, we knew that we wanted a multifaceted campaign that would not only help people in need today, but also reduce the risk of hunger for people in the future. So much of what we do starts with awareness about the issue and about some of the solutions. And speaking of awareness, I'm just going to throw some questions out to Jeff on some of this. About awareness, over the last 3 years since we launched this thing together, what have been some of the biggest lessons you've learned, some of the biggest takeaways about the issue of older adult hunger?
Yeah, I mean, these last 3 years working with Drive Down Hunger have been probably the most rewarding years that I've ever had off the track. Getting to go around the country and meet folks that are dealing with hunger issues in this country. Of course, that number, I think, was the first thing when we announced this relationship that blew all of us away, that there are that many Americans dealing with this hunger issue. But once you get a chance to meet some of these people face to face, you realize that many times these people did everything right in life, but yet for certain reasons, maybe a serious illness, a family issue, or economic setback, they're still struggling to put food on the table. Many times also, there's help for them and they don't know it, or maybe they they prefer to put others first, family members, loved ones, or they just prefer to stay in the shadows and they don't want people, they have too much pride on the line. They don't want to let people know what they're going through. So that has been an eye-opening experience for me, is getting a chance to interact with these people, as well as to see how many compassionate people there are in this country that want to help, that want to give back, that want to volunteer, that want to make a difference. And it makes me really proud to represent Drive Down Hunger and to have gotten this opportunity to learn more about this, and as well as help spread the word.
You mentioned making a difference. That's obviously why we're here today. You'll notice around the Media Center today, and certainly in this room, some posters highlighting the work of 3 AARP Foundation grantees here in New England. These 3 groups are among the approximately 100 organizations across the country that have received assistance from AARP Foundation for their anti-hunger work. These 3 are recipients of the Foundation's Hunger Innovation Awards for their work on building long-term solutions in their own communities that we think can be replicated in communities and brought to scale across the country. So obviously not just helping people now, but helping people in the future. I want to mention a couple of them specifically. First over here, Action for Boston Community Development. They work with individuals in some of Boston's poorest neighborhoods to help them realize how to maximize their dollar for affordable, healthy, accessible food and lower their expenses overall. The Western Mountains Alliance in Lewiston, Maine uses online marketplace tools to increase access to local community food systems. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then finally, Boston Medical Center has the Healthy Eating for At-Risk Older Adults, which actually provides individualized nutritional assistance education programs, as well as they deliver meals to isolated, needy seniors. Now, Jeff, you had an experience recently where you got to work with one of AARP Foundation's grantees to help prepare meals and deliver meals. Tell us about that, and specifically, tell us about the people that you were working with, and more importantly, the impact on the people who were receiving those.
Yeah, I got to see the full experience all in one day. Recently, I was at the University of Georgia, and there are these programs, universities as well as some high schools around the country called Campus Kitchen, where the students are very active and involved in their community of not only providing safe and healthy meals, but they're growing vegetables. This program blew me away. These kids are taking time away from their studies, taking time away from parties, and many times on the weekends they are getting a team of other students together, as well as some other organizations in their community, and I cut and slice vegetables and fruits and different types of, like I said, very healthy items that went into a package. We did all that in a kitchen, their own kitchen, really well done quality location with great students that are just very passionate about what they do. And I realized shortly after that why they were so passionate about it, because then we loaded that food into coolers, we put it in a van, and we drove into the community and delivered these meals to families. In this particular case, it was actually grandparents who are now the parents of their grandchildren. And so, this is just one of many experiences that I've had over these last 3 years, but this one in particular, because we were actually packaging it and delivering it and interacting with those folks and seeing the smiles on their faces when you walk in the door. They didn't care that Jeff Gordon was coming. They cared that they knew where their next meal was coming from, and that was incredible for me to be a part of it, and, as well as, to me, the message that young adults are sending to others out there in their community and around the world of, we have to work together, and we have to start early in life of giving back and doing things for those that are in need, especially the older adults out there that are struggling.
Jeff, you've also traveled with the AARP Foundation to food kitchens around the country. What have those experiences been like?
Yeah, and matter of fact, here in New Hampshire, I think it was last year, I had a chance to visit, and the work that they do is unbelievable. It takes so much. You think about a food drive where you donate canned goods or different types of foods that you have in your pantry. It's so much more than that. That's step one of 100. Once all of this gets to a food bank, it takes numerous hours of volunteering and people that are sorting through all these different items. And I've some of the most fun that I've had over the last couple of years is being in boxes that are taller than me and being at the bottom and just digging through all these things and trying to sort through cans and different types of food. I've learned there's a lot of different types of canned products that I did not know existed, and that people keep them on their shelves way too long. So give sooner, give more often, but the volunteers and interacting with them, and it really is this assembly line type of event where everybody is in this. There's go, it's fast, and it's fun, it's very rewarding, and it's instrumental in the volunteering and what the food banks do for this program. If these food banks don't figure out ways how to store this food properly, how to get it to them, as well as figure out how to turn around and get these meals out there to those that are in need, none of this work that we do is going to be possible. So they're crucial. The food banks are very crucial to what goes on.
Well, we've got one of those everyday heroes here with us today. I'd like to introduce a colleague of mine and friend, Kelly Clark, who is the state director from AARP New Hampshire, and we also have Mel Goslin, who is the executive director from New Hampshire Food Bank. Jeff, if you would mind joining me over here.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're giving a $20,000 donation on behalf of AARP Foundation to the New Hampshire Food Bank in recognition and support of all the work that they do to help feed the hungry here in New Hampshire, and especially to support their production garden, which is not only used as a job training resource, but it also provides healthy, locally grown produce for folks in the Granite State that need it. Thank you very much for everything that you've done.
Great to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I do real quickly. You see a lot of orange and orange ribbons. It is Hunger Action Month as well, so this is a very special time for everyone who's in this fight together to take action. Go to drivetendhunger.org to learn more about how you can do that. But please support your local food banks. They are instrumental to us all fighting this much bigger than life problem than any of us had ever realized with senior hunger.
So Jeff has his normal NASCAR media availability starting in a few minutes, but if there are any questions before then, please feel free. Louis?
Louis Francois back here, Jeff.
Yeah, hey, Louis.
As a parent of 2 young children, when's an appropriate age, to tell children that there are people that are not eating well?
Yeah, you know what? To me, some of the greatest lessons that I've been able to teach my kids already is going and volunteering and seeing what's happening in the world. Not every day is going to school and playing on the playground and toys at your house. And to me, we've had a very fortunate and blessed life. But the only way that I think you really can be in this world and do all that you can to be a well-rounded, well-balanced citizen is to start very young, understanding what life lessons are out there. And trips to Rwanda. I've already taken Ella there once, and when Leo's old enough, I certainly plan to go there. But this country is facing things that I had no idea that we were facing until this program came along. And so I definitely try to interact. With the food banks again, and my Ella's been to a food bank with me. I mean, it's a great way to introduce, to understand what is going on, and to me, to understand what volunteering is all about, because it's a very rewarding experience and it's a very important thing to do. And so, certainly there are still steps that you have to take as how you introduce them, what you introduce them to, but I don't think you can introduce them to volunteering too early.
All right, one over here, please.
Hey, Jeff, Mike Vega, Boston Globe. Just wanted to ask you, with your personal involvement in this cause, has it made you more acutely aware of the shelf life of the items in your own pantry when you go in there and you say to yourself, hey, we got to get these out because let's donate these and not let them go to waste?
It has, and it's also made me realize if you look at the meals, like we did that million meal package packing event last year in Charlotte. $1 can do so much to actually put a meal together that is a well-balanced meal and a healthy meal that can actually go much further for those folks that are in need than just a canned good. Canned goods are important, and we in so many other items that are donated, like food after the race. Those things are all very important and much needed, but there are also a lot of challenges that come along with sorting through all of that and getting it prepared and getting it out there. And so what I've realized is that donate. If you have 10 cents or $1 or whatever it may be, that's the way you're going to get the most impact. And allow the food banks and these other great organizations take that and make the most, stretch it out the furthest.
All right, I think I have time for one more. Okay, thank you again very much. We appreciate you coming. We appreciate you listening, and we would very much appreciate you helping spread the word about what is it we're trying to do. And one last note, because you do have food set up over there. We've been talking a lot today about healthy, locally grown food, as well as learning a bit more about the things that we put into our bodies. Today, AARP Foundation is sponsoring the lunch to let you experience what we're talking about. The food for today's lunch is produced largely with foods that were grown here locally. Locally grown food, number one, is going to be more delicious and it's going to be more nutritious because it doesn't have to travel thousands of miles. It can get picked at the height of ripeness. So we hope that you appreciate the lunch. I hope that you understand the role of actual good food in the fight against hunger. And we'd love you to spread the word. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I'm all yours, Carrie.
Follow that, and we appreciate all that the AARP Drive to End Hunger, and Jeff Gordon, I know I've told you this before, but we appreciate everything you do, not just inside this sport, but for people overall.
Thank you, Carrie.
Let's hear from Jeff Gordon. He is the driver of the number 24 drive-in Hunger Chevrolet over at Hendrick Motorsports. Had a pretty good race last week at Chicagoland Speedway coming into New Hampshire. What's your outlook for this weekend, Jeff, as we begin race 2 of the chase?
Yeah, we had a great run at Chicago. Very happy with the performance, especially happy with the performance, but also pretty happy with the result. We know we could have gotten more and we not had the tire issue, but the team was fired up this week. Went in the shop and you could just see a different attitude and a lot of smiles and a lot of guys that are really excited to get here to New Hampshire because this is a great track for us. It's been a great track for the 24 team for many years, and we tested here a few weeks ago with all the Hendrick cars and thought that if we make it in the chase, we got a great opportunity, and so looking forward to trying to capitalize on that this weekend.
All right, we'll take your questions now. We have a couple of mic holders. We'll go with Ed, we'll go with Claire, and then we'll go here to Gordon. Go ahead, Ed. State your name and affiliation, please.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Jeff, yeah, just a great track for you. The highest driver ranking here, other than Tony Stewart. Could this amount to a breakout race for you? Is like Matt says he's concerned about this place? Could this be a real breakout and surge race for you?
It certainly can. I think what happens when you go to certain tracks that are good tracks and consistent tracks for you, then you have an opportunity, and it's about capitalizing on that opportunity and making the most out of it. And that's the way I look at this track. I look at Martinsville very similar. That it's also one of those tracks. Doesn't guarantee anything. Doesn't make the job any less hard. We're gonna have to fight and claw just like we have all year long to make it in the chase and to get the results that we've had. And what's nice is when you claw and you fight, and all of a sudden you start to see your cars running better and your pit crews putting good pit stops together, and your restarts are better, and the results are better, and that's what we saw last week in Chicago, and that's certainly what we hope to continue here.
We'll go to Claire, Gordon, and then to Bob Pockrass.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Why did it come together last week? All of a sudden you sort of felt it, and then because you didn't expect you were in the chase, and then you were. Is that sort of an ease that the pressure was off, or that there's kind of a feeling that, well, we weren't going to be in it, now we are, so there's kind of an easy feeling on the team, we got this?
I think, now the pressure's on. Now we're in it, we want to show everyone why we're in it and what we can do and what we're capable of doing. And to me, the question isn't more why we stepped up and performed at Chicago, it's why haven't we leading up to Chicago, I think we have the last 3 races leading into Chicago were pretty good, but previously in the season, we just have had our struggles. We've had, missed opportunities, and it's hard to always put your finger on what exactly has caused those things. All I do know is that this team's ready to step up. They did at Chicago, and I mentioned that we're going to probably surprise some people, and I think we will. And coming out of Chicago with a solid finish was important to us. We had a great finish or performance going there last year. We had the strange throttle issue. That changed our whole chase for us. So it was nice to know we had an issue, fought back from it, and moved up in the points, and now we come in here to New Hampshire, a great track.
Let's go Gordon, Bob Pockrass, Mike Vega.
Gordon Kirby, Motorsport Magazine. Jeff, as you know, Juan Montoya is moving on to Indy cars. I wonder if you...
Moving back to IndyCar.
Moving back to Indy cars, yeah, 100% right. Could you just comment a little on the 7 years that he spent there, what you've seen him learn and progress, how you assess him as a racing driver, and also the challenges that maybe he's faced in a two-car team versus a four-car team like your own?
Yeah, I'm very, I'm certainly very anxious to watch IndyCar next year. I think it's going to bring a lot of attention to it, and I'm anxious in the way of, being here in these types of cars, and the struggles that you have in these types of cars with lack of grip, all the different tracks, how competitive it is among the cars and teams that are out there, how that experience is going to either enhance or hinder him, going back to the IndyCar series. But one thing has always been true, and still is for Juan. He's a fantastic race car driver. He's very aggressive, and he pulls off great moves. And I think that he's shown that here, and he's going to certainly do that in IndyCars when he goes back there as well. I think the challenges have just been a question mark on how strong is Ganassi, in the Cup Series, and is it Juan's inexperience on ovals that have kept him from winning races on those ovals? He's run really good at times, but then it seems like it doesn't always come together for that win. Is that lack of experience and just unique cars, or is it the team? And you don't always know the answers to those things. You would certainly think a guy of his talent, he'd be able to adapt to it, and so it makes you question some of those things. But I've always applauded him for making that move, because at that point in his career, all the different, the kinds of cars that he had driven did not prepare him for NASCAR, and that's a big step. And even though he didn't win as many races as I think he would have liked to have, it's been a pleasure racing with him, and I respect him tremendously.
Let's go to Bob Pockrass, Michael Vega, and Dustin Long.
Bob Pockrass, Sporting News. What do you believe will be more of a deterrent for teams not to kind of repeat the actions of Michael Waltrip racing a couple of weeks ago, the NASCAR penalties, or the fact that a sponsor has actually left a team over it?
I think all of those things. I think that a sponsor leaving probably is certainly bigger than those penalties. I mean, that's hard to replace, especially this point in the season. I think that was a very loud message that was sent to MWR as well as everyone in the sport about what our expectations are and our actions, what they can result in if there are negative actions. So, that's unfortunate. You see a team go through some decisions that they went through and choices, and you want to see a team get penalized for those types of things, no matter what team it is. But you never want to see it go to this level where they lose a sponsor. That's really unfortunate.
Let's go to Michael Vega, Dustin Long, Alan Cavanna.
Jeff, Michael Vega, Boston Globe. Just following up on that, on the broader issue of teamwork within the framework of this sport, as part of a team that has the most drivers in the chase, are you still able to work within the new rules now to help a teammate if need be on the track? And how are you able to still do that without that sitting in the back of your head as, hey, is this going to be interpreted as something that's a penalty? And as a second question to that, do you feel as a driver that it puts you in an awkward situation when you have to field the team order? And are you glad now that NASCAR said, hey, that's crossing the line?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that we're all relieved in many ways, that all we have to do is just go out there and race hard, and I think that right there, that statement that I said, gets misinterpreted maybe some ways by people that might not understand the sport as well as that garage area and members of the media that follow the sport. Or diehard fans that follow sport, because you would think, oh, well, you just race as hard as you can, all the time. And yeah, we try to go out there and race to win every single weekend. But if you're having a bad day, or you're not in a position to win the race, you're not in a position to win the championship, you're going to be a team player. That's part of having teammates, and so now. it's going to get challenging, difficult on those days. On the days where you're there competing for the win and the top 5 and top 10, there's no questions. You just go and do your job. What you love to do, and what we enjoy doing every single weekend. Where it's and that's I love that that's the position that we're in right now. We have all 4 in the chase, all battling hard, racing hard for wins and to win the championship. We don't have to worry about any kind of team orders or anything because all 4 of us are in it. It will get challenging. We get further into the chase if any of us are not in that battle, and how we're going to manage racing as hard as we can, as well as what's happening with our teammate for the championship. I think that we're not going to do anything that's going to manipulate the outcome of the race, and we're going to do everything we can to race at 100%, all the way to the checkered flag. And there might be instances where it might look like we're helping our teammate and we're not. We're racing them hard, but they're faster than us or something like that. That's where it's going to get challenging. That's where you guys are going to do your job very well and going to watch very closely of how things are being taken care, how business is being taken care of on the racetrack, radio communications and all those things. I think not having the digitals, has been a little bit new for the team because they could talk to a spotter about our plan or talk to somebody else on another team about what we're going to do on the next pit stop, things like that. So that's changed things, and I think that's also a good thing because we want the fans and the media and everybody to know what we're talking about and what's getting ready to happen at all times. I think it only makes a better experience for the fans as well.
Got time for 3 more. Dustin, Lewis, Marty Smith.
Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. Jeff, with last week being the first race with the new restart procedure, I think you got various opportunities from different positions in the field. What was that like? How did that work out? And will there be any additional challenges with that here just because it's a tighter, smaller track, or what might the restarts be like here in that sense?
I liked it, and I'll tell you why I liked it, because the thing that I didn't anticipate was now that let's say this weekend's more than likely going to be the outside lane, be in the line that the second place runner will be in. Before, if that person took off and got a little bit too good of a start, or this other car spun the tires, then all of a sudden they're checking up to not beat them to the line, and it's just causing chaos 5 and 10 rows back. And then you start getting people running into one another and damaging their cars and causing wrecks. Now it seems like both lanes sort of flow evenly to that to turn 1, and I think that there's not as much of a disadvantage for the other lane. Let's say, I don't know, what do we call that? I don't know what we call that lane, but the number 2 car lane. Good, I like that. Thank you, Dustin. It just seems like if you're in that lane, it might be a little bit less of a disadvantage than it used to be, because it just seemed like that the number 1 car lane would always take off a little quicker, and that momentum just continues to carry all the way to the first turn.
Go Lewis and in with Marty. Lewis?
Yes, Lewis Frank Speed Week. I was wondering if you or Alan spoke with the engine department about Junior's problem last week, and do you have any feelings that it might have just been a heating and cooling cycle thing?
No, it wasn't any of those things. We did, speak at length about it, and we feel like it's something that we had an issue with a couple years ago that we felt like we had solved, and we had several engines that had no issues and one that did, and sometimes those are just freak things. The material and the metal, that how it's manufactured, and sometimes there's just flaws, and that's the only thing that I feel like at this point that we can come up with. We haven't been able to duplicate it. That's one of the biggest challenges. I will say that I can't believe any engine made it through that race, and I'll tell you why. Because I've never turned so many RPMs and put so much load on an engine as we did there. The track was fast. The fall off was not huge. We're hitting the rev limiter. Cool temperatures and just wide open, in the middle of the corner so early, and just carrying that long wide open throttle all the way deep into the next corner for a long period of time. And I was concerned about everybody's engine. So, that was about as much demand as you can put on one.
Final question, Marty?
Marty Smith, ESPN. You said a moment ago that when you guys had the issue at Chicago last year, it changed your whole chase. That's sort of it put you behind. That's sort
Right.
of what the situation Dale's in right now. He blows a motor, he's 53 points out already.
Right.
How does that change your mindset? How do you have to look at your task differently when you're in that position?
Yeah, I think that in that position, you have absolutely nothing to lose, right? So you can instead of maybe having a game plan where you were going to try to fine-tune a setup, you can just get completely outside the box and just go for broke and make very gutsy calls on pit road. You can be more aggressive as a driver. You can be more aggressive as the engineers can be more aggressive in the setup as well, and it could benefit them greatly. Could benefit us as well, but it also could cause some challenges. So, I think that they're looking at it like, listen, unless something miraculous happens, we're not going to be back in this thing to the level that they would like to be in. So, I think there's a part of you that just says, okay, let's just see how high up in points we can get, and then there's a part of you that says we go for broke, and if we get on a heck of a roll, we can still do this. So you certainly never stop giving up hope.
Jeff, as always, thanks for coming in, and
Yeah,
good luck
thank you.
this weekend.
Appreciate it.
Should have Jimmy Johnson here Monday.